Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so guys, last time we learned about the mouth and we learned about the teeth. Today we'll move forward, okay? Now, we drew this diagram last time. So guys, last time we learned that this is the mouth and we have learned about the teeth. Now guys, we learned also that this is larynx and this is trachea. This over here, boys, this structure
Pharynx.
Epiglottis.
is called as epiglottis. Now this epiglottis is the uh, flap-like structure which prevents the entry of the food into the trachea. It prevents the entry of the food into the windpipe. Then, boys, this area, it is called as pharynx. This over here is the
Esophagus.
esophagus, and this is stomach. So today we are going to learn up till stomach. Now, first of all, we are going to talk about the salivary glands which are present in the mouth. Now, guys, let's talk about salivary glands. Now, these salivary glands, their job is that they produce saliva. Now, guys, this saliva, it contains 90% water in it, and rest of the 10% it contains the bicarbonate and carbonate salts, and it also contains amylase enzyme. Now, who will tell me who will tell me that what is the job of amylase enzyme? We have learned that in the first term.
Amylase
They break
enzyme
down
breaks down
starch
starch.
into
Very
maltose.
good, right? So this amylase, it breaks down the starch into maltose. You have to memorize this, right? That starch is broken down into maltose, right, boys? Now,
Yes.
next thing, boys, that because of the presence of this bicarbonate and carbonate salts, this saliva, it has 8 pH. It has 8 pH, and also you need to remember that this amylase works best in 8 pH. Right, the optimum pH for the amylase enzyme to work is 8 pH. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
boys, what happens that in the mouth, when we take the bite, in the mouth, when we take the bite, after taking the bite, what do? We chew the food, right? And we chew the food with the help of our premolars and molars, right, boys? At the same time, saliva is also produced. At the same time, saliva is also produced, and with the help of teeth and tongue, the saliva is mixed with the food, right? With the help of teeth and tongue, the saliva is mixed with the food. Now, boys, when this saliva it is mixed with the food, then what happens that the bite changes into a ball of food, and this ball of food it is called as bolus. Changes into a soft ball of food, and that soft ball of food is called as bolus. Now, boys, let's suppose that this over here is the bolus. Now, boys, this bolus needs to go into the stomach. This bolus it needs to go into the stomach. Now, let me tell you that this bolus does not go down through the esophagus by gravity. It does not go down by gravity. This bolus goes down by a process which is called as peristalsis. Now, boys, I'm going to explain you. The, sorry, did you say something? Did someone say something?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, boys, I'm going to explain you the process of peristalsis. Now, boys, let's suppose that this is the esophagus, and in the esophagus, this is the bolus. Now, this bolus it needs to go down. Now, well, let me tell you that In our esophagus, there are two types of muscles. One type of muscles, they are round in shape like this. Now these round circular shaped muscles, they are simply called as circular muscles. So boys, these are called circular muscles. While there are another type of muscles which are long like this. Now these muscles, they are called as longitudinal muscles. So guys, these are called what? Longitudinal muscles. Now, one thing is very obvious over here. This bolus can only go down if this esophagus, it is squeezed from the back and it becomes open from the front of the bolus. If the esophagus, it is squeezed from the back of the bolus and becomes open from the front of the bolus, then the bolus can go downward. Now boys, for this purpose, what happens, that the circular muscles, they contract behind the bolus. Now when the circular muscles, they contract behind the bolus, at that time circular muscles, they relax in front of the bolus. Now boys, when the circular muscles, they will relax in front of the bolus, at that time the esophagus will become open from the front of the bolus, and when the circular muscles, they will contract behind the bolus, it will squeeze from back of the bolus. So because of this, what will happen, that the bolus, it will be pushed downward. Bolus will be pushed downward. Now one more thing boys, which I need to tell you, that the muscles, they are always present in pairs and they work opposite to each other. Now in the pair of muscles, there is circular muscle and the longitudinal muscle. Now it's obvious, when circular muscle is contracting, the longitudinal muscle will relax, and that is behind the bolus. And in front of the bolus, when the circular muscles, they are in relaxed position, at that time longitudinal muscles, they will contract. Understand everyone? So this whole process is called as peristalsis, and by this process of peristalsis, food moves along our whole digestive system. Not only in esophagus, the same process, by the same method, the food also moves down the other areas of our body, of our digestive system as well, in stomach, in small intestine, in large intestine as well. Okay boys, so listen again, that we have two types of muscles in our esophagus. There are circular muscles and there are longitudinal muscles, and I told you the muscles are always present in the form of pairs. What will happen, that the circular muscles, they will contract behind the bolus, and the circular muscles, they will relax in front of the bolus. and as the circular muscle they will relax in front of the bolus, the tube it will become open from the front, and when you see the circular muscles they will contract behind the bolus, the tube it will squeeze from the back. I have shown it with the arrows, right? And the food or the bolus it will move downward. Another thing I told you that the muscles always work in pairs. When one muscle is contracting, the other muscle always relax. So if the circular muscles are contracting behind the bolus, in front of the bolus longitudinal muscles they will relax. And when the circular muscles they are relaxed in front of the bolus, the longitudinal muscles they will contract in front of the bolus. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right? Now, boys, we come back over here.
Yes, sir.
We come back to this diagram. Now, boys, this is stomach. Now, inside the stomach over here, this is the lining of the mucus. Now, you will ask a question that, sir, what is mucus? Now, let me tell you that mucus is the same liquid that is present in your nose. That same liquid is present in your esophagus, it is present in your stomach, it is present in your small intestine, it is present in your large intestine. So this is the mucus. It is also present in your trachea as well, bronchi as well, bronchioles as well, right? Now, first question is why there is mucus lining present inside the stomach. Now, guys, there is mucus lining present inside the stomach because this mucus it contain, you see this stomach it contains the gastric juice. Now, a question is in your mind that, sir, what is gastric juice? Now, guys, let me tell you. The gastric juice it contains two things. One thing that it contains HCl. Now, the full form of HCl is hydrochloric acid, and this HCl it has 2 pH. This HCl has 2 pH. Understood, everyone? Next thing, boys, is that in the gastric juice there is pepsin. Now, boys, this pepsin it is a protease enzyme. Now, what does this pepsin enzyme do? It breaks down the proteins into peptides. Now, question is in your mind, sir. We know that the proteins they are the long chain of amino acids. I'm writing AA. Sir, what are peptides? Now, let me tell you, peptides are 4 to 6 amino acid chain. So, the long chain of amino acid is broken down into small chains of amino acid with the help of pepsin enzyme. With the help of pepsin enzyme. Understand?
Yes, sir.
And next thing, that the pepsin, its optimum pH is 2. So the pepsin enzyme, it works best at 2 pH. Understand? The pepsin enzyme, it works best at 2 pH. That is why hydrochloric acid with 2 pH is present in the stomach. Now, boys, you guys have learned that the acids, they are corrosive. Who will tell me what is the meaning of corrosive?
Sir, reactive.
Sir, they are highly reactive.
No. The word corrosive means that they can damage the skin or the tissues, or they can burn the tissues, right? So,
Sir,
even
it's
though,
degenerating.
sorry,
Sir, it's degenerating.
yes, it burns the skin and the tissues. So, boys, as in the stomach there is so much highly concentrated acid, so why our stomach lining is not burning? That is because of mucus, because mucus lining protects the stomach wall. Mucus lining protects the stomach wall. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes.
next thing which I am going to tell you, boys, that is the, let's suppose that this over here, let's suppose that this is the stomach, and we take this much part of the stomach wall and we enlarge the diagram. Now, boys, when we enlarge the diagram, what do we see? We see this. Now, boys, you guys have learned, I have taught you that different tissues, they join together to make an organ. So there are different tissues which are present in the stomach, which make them the organ. Now, boys, this is the layer of cells over here, present over here. Now, there are these deep areas in the stomach. These deep areas, they are called as gastric pits. What are these deep areas called? They are called as the gastric pits. Right, boys? Now, next thing, that in these gastric pits over here, there are special cells over here. Now, these special cells, they are called as the goblet cells. Now, the job of these goblet cells is that they produce mucus. So, boys, the goblet cells are the cells that produce mucus. Goblet cells are the cells that produce mucus. Understand, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then there are another type of special cells over here. These cells, are called as the chief cells. They produce HCl. Then there are another type of specialized cells present in these gastric pits, and these specialized cells, they produce pepsinogen. Now question is in your mind that, sir, what is pepsinogen?
Sir, it is in inactive.
Pepsinogen is
It is inactive form of pepsin.
inactive form of pepsin. Means that this pepsinogen can change into pepsin. But question is that when pepsinogen will change into pepsin? The pepsinogen will change into pepsin when it comes in contact with HCl. Let me write over here so that you remember this, that pepsinogen changes into pepsin when it comes in contact with HCl. Right, boys? So in the gastric pits, there are special cells, and those special cells of the gastric pit, they produce HCl and they produce pepsinogen. And pepsinogen is the inactive form of the HCl, and it can change into the active form when it comes in contact with the HCl. Pepsinogen can change into pepsin when it comes in contact with the HCl. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Understood, everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what has happened? That the bolus reached over here. Next, what happens that this bolus mixes with the gastric juice. There is a mixture of bolus and the gastric juice. Now, boys, what happens that, let's suppose that you ate chicken biryani. Now it has rice. Rice are what? Starch, which is a carbohydrate, right? Then there is chicken in it, which is what? Which is protein. And then it is cooked in oil, which are lipids or fats. Means that this one chicken biryani dish, it contains all the nutrients, right? Now, so starch will be digested in your mouth, not all, a little bit, from the amylase enzyme. And when the protein of the chicken biryani will reach into the stomach, it will be mixed over here. And I just taught you pepsin breaks down the proteins into peptides. Now, another thing, that the chicken biryani bite that you took, that was solid. But what will happen? It will change into, you see, the water will be added in the mouth from saliva, and also gastric juice is also liquid. So what will happen that your food, when it will mix with the chyme, sorry, when your food, it will mix with the gastric juice, it will become chyme, like a thick liquid. This, you see this food and mixture of gastric juice is called as chyme. So let me write over here, chyme is what? mixture of food and gastric juice. Understood, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So, this is how you see this chyme will be made. So boys, we are going to learn this much today. I am going to save this file so that I'm going to share it with you guys, inshallah, in the OneNote. Okay, boys, I have shared this in the OneNote. Okay,
Okay, sir.
you can get this from the OneNote. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So see you guys, inshallah, in next class. Take care and Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Allah
Allah.
Hafiz, sir.
Allah Hafiz, sir.